And you can hear me fine?
Yes, I can. Here we are.
Okay, cool. All right, how you doing?
Glad to be here with you today. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Rebecca, for joining me, hanging out, an interesting conversation. Um, I took a look at your website after hearing you. I think it was a Typical Skeptic podcast.
Oh yeah. Oh, with Rob. Yeah, he does video. So many videos. Yes, of course. You've heard me probably a few times with him. Yeah.
Right. And obviously, most people, when they listen to you, they hear about your story, they're like talking about uh, the SSP things, all that stuff.
Hmm.
But what caught my mind, what caught my eye, was your website. And we talk of divine healing, quantum healing, and past lives. I mean, so many
Yeah.
things that you're into. How'd you get into all that anyway? And also just tell us about yourself too.
Yeah. Well, you've been to my website. For people in the audience who don't know me, I work as a healer and a energy worker and a reader, a seer. And so on. I'm an intuitive full time for my work, and also my passion is spirituality. But to your point about how did I even get into all that, it was after I'd had a pretty bad head injury and was in a car accident, hit by a car while I was on my bike, and my life started to unravel. I started to get SSP memories coming back with that head injury, and also because I was so kind of, I want to say, painted into a corner in my life, and everything was falling apart for me. I started to meditate. So I didn't have any, when you're kind of at rock bottom, you don't have anywhere else to go. Like, okay, I'm going to sit here and see what comes up, because there's a lot I think I had been running from. Anybody relate to that out there? Running from for years, with various different means, right? We all have our poisons that seem like nectar in the moment. So anyway, that's a long way of saying I started to meditate. My psychic abilities reopened. They were alive and awake somewhat in childhood, but they really reconnected me to the spirit realm. Now, that isn't why I started to meditate. I had no idea I was going to start channeling and all these things. When you start to sit with your mind in stillness, so much comes up. Everything in subconscious comes up, but you also connect to other realms and other dimensions. At least that was the experience for me. It led me to this work. Now, if you would have asked me, I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, I don't know, if I had a steep learning curve. I didn't believe in galactic beings. If you had asked me, about ETs, I would have said, no, I don't think so, even though I had contact in childhood with that. So I'll pause there. I think that's probably a pretty good introduction of how I came to this path. It wasn't really intentional, at least not in a conventional way. Although at the soul level, I would say I had every intention of going through everything I've gone through to get here. Yeah.
So, so a week before the accident, um, none of this exists. Like, what was your
When you
life
say
before?
that, yeah,
Wait,
that's a good question. I feel like I'd always been on a different pathway. I was a studio artist for about 25 years, painter and sculptor, and kind of really marching to my own drummer, so to say, um, my whole life. So it wasn't like I was really living this straight kind of matrixy life up till then. I wasn't. But I think I just wasn't facing the callings that were right in front of me. Yeah, so I had memories from early life of pretty deviant things happening to me, but I think people can relate to this when things are dissonant or cause cognitive dissonance within us. We kind of tend to put them in a vault because they don't line up ABC 1, 2, 3 with the facts we think we know about our lives. Yeah. So
so,
I had
so
just
you,
pushed things away and pushed things away, and pretty soon that vault is really full, and life isn't functioning so well anymore. So yeah.
so to some degree, there was, you noticed something was off, but then there's a catalyst, and then once you have your catalyst, you're starting to meditate.
Yeah.
Tell me about like your first couple experiences of even thinking about quantum healing or being out of body, or was there a divine being that met with you, and it just everything.
Yeah, that's what really, you're bringing me back to just such early awakening days that I haven't talked about or thought about in a while. So when I started to meditate, I was a bit resistant because I was like, my nervous system was really amped up. I was in fight or flight all the time, not doing well. So then when I started to sit, it was very difficult. But over time of becoming more embodied, working with the breath, working with the soma, I think it was, I want to say, I worked with child parts. I worked with child parts and kind of bringing them home as a bit of a soul retrieval. I worked a lot with the heart, and when that happened, I think it was the Hathors that I connected with, and very feminine embodiment of the Hathor frequencies. I know maybe some of your listeners know Tom Kenyon. I think he's been a strong Hathor channel over the years, maybe not in so much circulation at the moment, but the Hathors marry so many different galactic groups, ascended masters. I just felt like this clear, open channel, and I was a little bewildered by it all. Like I kind of wanted to shut it down. Because in the beginning, you don't have a lot of mastery over it. It's just like all this stuff coming in. Right. Go ahead. Yeah.
It can be a little scary. And I guess that brings me to my next thought is as you're exploring these things, over a couple of years, it might be, how do you put the pieces together? Like, what is the story of like what it is you sort of extrapolated over the years as like what's your gift, what's your calling, and like the purpose, because all that sort of on your timeline is a story.
In that very early part of meditating and beginning to channel, and just to work with myself, my heart, my essence, and to begin a healing path really for myself. Again, to your viewers, I never had any intention of channeling. I would have laughed and said that's a bunch of bullshit at the beginning, to be really blunt. As I began to kind of get these blips of memory back from my SSP experiences, my abductions, things that went on in my family and extended family that were pretty dark. It's almost like that darkness. Go ahead.
Just give a quick connection to people. What was the connection there? What you said there was something in your background.
Oh, about the secret space programs, or
your family, or Masonic, or a brotherhood of some sort, or.
Oh, with my family, my father worked for the deep state, and he worked with a high clearance for the military intelligence, naval intelligence, and also Lockheed Martin, and so on. My mother's German bloodline had some dark satanic ritual in it, and I was abused in that way as a child. I was also trafficked through my godfather, who worked with my side by side with my dad in Top Secret. I was trafficked into child pornography back in the 70s. I was born in 72. Most of this happened before 1980. So a long time ago in the past. So I started putting connecting some dots and getting some pretty otherworldly also memories back, which are, really disturbing. But what I was going to say is at the same time, all this light started coming in, and I feel like it worked so well for me to have this nascent footing of meditation and spirituality just beginning to bloom as I was also starting to get those memories back. So while it helped me metabolize what was happening. I think without some kind of spiritual path, I would have gone crazy. So maybe, essentially we could say, did the memories need to wait until I was starting to awaken in some way and had some kind of stability within my person in order to receive the truth that I had been, like I said, running away from. Yeah.
That's an interesting point. Yeah. The thread I've seen is that a lot of survivors, they faced insurmountable obstacles. High amounts of trauma.
Yes.
A lot of deception in their life. But then the creator all of a sudden, and then as soon as they're getting their healing and awakening, they get purpose right behind it too, so that others can be free. Because it seems like everything is in conjunction for a lot of people to get a lot of healing very quick.
Yeah. And you've talked to a number of people, and so maybe you see this as a, a trajectory that's a bit common in your interviews of like, oh, there's all this darkness, and I always say, recognizing now that I think I came in at a soul level to go down into the belly of the beast to become part of its undoing. Like I wouldn't have been able to kind of, I don't want to say I've fulfilled the mission, but I'm kind of on the path. I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now without turning toward those shadow lands. Like for me in my personal journey, that meant that I was living in some kind of truth that would allow my true identity to also come forth in all that light and be able to help others along the way. Again, I never would have thought of myself as any kind of healer or any of those things. It just happened. I wasn't seeking it out. Yeah.
So the first time you're getting connection, or maybe after a while, you're in connection with divine beings or beings that are connected quantumly somehow.
Yeah.
How do you start to work with that and put that together? And it's not just like during meditation; it's quantum reality all the time. So when did you start to say, okay, like this is my purpose, to help others break out?
I'm sure it was years into all of this. I just needed to sit on my cushion for a few thousand hours, and then it would become clear. True enough. It was slowly and gradually over time. I mean, I had a lot of inner work to do to get to where I am now, and that work is ongoing. It's a lifetime of work. To be here in this timeline for all of us, I think, is a really brave move. And then also having to undo so much of the kind of malevolent influence of early life, or that we could just say the trauma of early life. Yeah, I had a lot of work to do. Still doing it. And I would say too that I've always been a bit of a journaler. And so when things were starting to come through in channel, I would begin to write them down. So I began to metabolize a lot of the internal planes that I was visiting, and all of this, or people visiting me, spiritual energies, communicating with me. I metabolized that on the page, connected a lot of dots. It was really just about working on myself. It was never yet in those early years about helping anybody else. I mean, through helping ourselves, we help the world. Hands down, that is the path. Yeah.
Well, that brings me to my next question. A lot of people talk about galactic federations, communities. When I do anything, I'm always hanging out with angels, but a lot of the people are hanging out with a lot of people from a lot of other different dimensions. So, I guess in your mind, what does it look like right now? Like, what's the purpose of a galactic federation, or what's the purpose of even, doing light work, or what's the, what does it look like to you?
Yeah, I would say it's a pretty broad topic. We could talk many hours about that. I like it. To integrate our highest divine aspect, really, to integrate it. So it's not something we have to leave this plane to go explore, but that we integrate it into physical form here in 3D, which up levels the whole experience for ourselves, our loved ones, and for the collective. We're integrating. I see a lot of people and clients that, and this was me previously, right, and the other iterations of Rebecca, kind of wanting to exit this plane in some way because it's so dense. If we come here as indigos, crystal children, starseeds, and that, this place is dense, and it's in some ways, there's a lot of darkness here.
It's
so
heavy.
We can tend to want to leave. Yeah, it's heavy. Well said. So, but what I've seen in my practice, for me personally, and also those that I work with, is like, the more we become embodied on this plane, the more we are able to hold that higher frequency. Actually, it seems like an unconventional piece of wisdom, right? Like, oh, how can that be true? That sounds like counterintuitive. But actually, as we allow those energies to come down through our clarified vessel, so to say,
Hmm.
we are massive light forces on this planet. So I
Hmm.
think that's the point. That's how I would say it in the briefest form. Yeah.
Right. And so that's where I like to draw delineations or connections with this idea of Christ consciousness. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
Hmm.
everybody's frequency is drawn towards an idea of love,
Yeah.
you know, an actual love that isn't afraid of
Yeah.
change, an
Yeah.
actual love that isn't afraid of difference, you know,
Yeah.
an actual love that actually wants everybody to be sovereign, you
Yeah.
know, and powerful, you
Yeah.
know. And I connect that with the idea of terraforming
Hmm.
and creation and people and now even celestial beings
Hmm.
all needing to coalesce, to be in community, you know what I'm saying? So that everybody can thrive.
Yeah.
And it sounds like we're doing this. You're saying you're healing, but also we're teaching. And it's actually doing something quantumly, right? Is that sounds a bit right?
Well, you know what? Everybody's truth is really individual. Yeah, there's no, I mean, I'm not in a position to say, right or wrong, right? We're all
Yeah,
explorers here. We're all
yeah.
explorers. Uh, yeah. Yeah.
So negative polarity, positive polarity. I guess that's
Mhm.
what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Is,
Yeah.
you know, this idea of a consciousness, you know, a greater consciousness and a return to source and self-actualization of
Yeah,
sorts.
self-actualization, Christ consciousness, and the importance the importance of love. You just spoke to that, and that's really, yeah, that's expanding upon what I was saying about like we're here to embody this higher frequency, and the more
Hmm.
grounded on this earth we become, the more we carry the frequency. We're opening up our crowns through grounding the root, and then what? Working, I mentioned working with child parts. This opened me to a wellspring of compassion, which I had not had for myself before. I was locked into a lot of self judgment, low self worth, even self hatred, suicidal tendencies. And that
Hmm.
really started to heal things for me. Now, working with all those compassion practices over the years, it's really helped me to, in my finer moments, see self as other, be gentle and kind toward our other, you know, beings on the planet, ourselves, each other, our families, our enemies, whatever it may be. Can you soften your position? That's always a teaching for me as I go through the day. I haven't necessarily mastered it, but we begin to soften our energies and move into a higher frequency of compassion, empathy, and I would say love. Yeah.
So healing
Hmm.
all of us. Right. And that's the shadow work that all of us have to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's beautiful. So so when you help people, maybe you can give, you know, people watching this like maybe a quick understanding of what it means to move from the 3D, 4D, and 5D. How do you help people
Mm.
transition?
Yeah. Well, in the way that I work, we do work with quite a bit of shadow material, but it's also how to say, like it's in tandem with bringing in higher energies and
Okay.
helping people open their intuition, open their hearts, open to experience not just the mind, but sensation through this physical vessel that we have, attuning people to subtle energy, which a lot of times we can miss what's going on with our intuition and again, the subtle
Hmm.
energies that are moving all the time through us and around us and through others. Reading energy, reading our internal state, being in touch with our internal state, like, hey, what's alive for you in the moment? We've become people of mentalizing and thinking rather than feeling and being. So bringing people back into that. I do a lot of energy work on the chakra system. How I gather
Right.
energy through readings is through reading the field, reading the energy body, and reading the whole energy system contains everything we've been through is sort of coded in there, and I can decode that to say,
Right.
oh, here's what. this may be what's going on for you, or does this resonate for you? This is what I see. And
Right.
allowing people definitely to be part and parcel of the solution. I want to give people tools so they can unlock their own journeys. I'm not
Right.
unlocking it. You're doing it yourself. I'm just a handmaiden to that. Yeah.
Hmm.
And creating a safe space for people is so important in this timeline in which everybody has, most of us have gone through periods of time in which we didn't feel safe, we didn't feel protected, we might have had some trauma. Everybody's got some level of trauma. We live in
Hmm.
a traumatized, matrix, so to say,
Yeah.
on some level. But yeah, helping people find their own resources. So what I do a variety of different things. Some of it's higher galactic attunement, some of it's quantum
Hmm.
healing, some of it's readings, past life work, and inner child work, and so on. There's a variety of things and ways that I work with people.
Right. And I noticed it's almost like a Rubik's Cube for every
Mm.
person. There's
Yeah,
almost like a
yeah,
code to help the soul remember.
yeah. Yes,
You know.
yeah, so true. That's a really great analogy. Yes, yeah, yeah.
So I guess to some degree, you're working with the energy, Reiki, maybe. I don't know.
In the
Um,
beginning, yeah, in the beginning, I was working with Reiki, and there's still some truth to that. But yes, yeah, energy work is takes many forms.
I hear
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
So I guess ultimately what we're doing is we're all trying to understand energetically how it can resonate best
Mhm.
with
Yeah,
source. You know.
yeah. Yeah, and
And,
who we are energetically, I always say we were never get we went to school and we were kids. We went to school, we learned to read and write, but nobody said, oh, you're an energetic being. Do you want to learn about that? So we
right.
kind of have to go back and put like you said, the Rubik's cube. Like can we line it all up, all those colors? We have to take it apart and put it back together. What do we
I
do to
know. I
find
know.
our essence in that way? Yeah.
But
Um,
without it, it wouldn't make so much sense
yeah.
because it means so much to us once we understand that freedom, the sense of freedom and autonomy.
Yeah, yeah, self-authority. Something that's been coming through strongly in a lot of different readings and channelings in my own life is that piece of fidelity to self, that sovereignty that is expressed as authenticity. What's authentic for you?
Mhm.
What's authentic? What's true for you? I mean, well, we've been so conditioned to like be who other people need us to be in ways that we may not even realize, myself
Right.
included. Like
Right.
how can I shed those layers to become who I really am here? And maybe, as I'm speaking with you, I realize how many layers I had to shed and how much fear I had to shed to go public with my SSP stories. Because
That's
they
true.
sound crazy. They all sound insane, right? Like abduction stories and aliens and spaceships and missing time and like bright lights and
Yeah.
bodily augmentations, and just all of it sounds kind of mental.
But see,
So
then the source and creator put a bunch of weirdo sci-fi people out there to sort of hold the ground.
yeah,
So when Rebecca Roses come out, they're like, "Oh, this is real. Like this people that have been like researching this for years."
true.
And
Yeah.
one cool thing I like, and what I guess what I talk to you about is you mentioned like that sovereignty, but I want to take it even further.
Yeah.
This idea of divine frequency and divine femininity.
Mhm.
Has that been a piece of you
For
becoming unlocked
sure, for
or
sure,
living with?
absolutely.
Tell
Yeah,
me
the
about that.
divine feminine. Yeah, so, well, that's a long conversation too. For me, I'm
Because I
just
believe
trying to
it's
make it,
helping heal the earth
yeah,
because it's a
it helps
feminine
heal.
planet,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, and your audience knows this. We all have masculine, feminine within us, but we've, again, going back to the cultural paradigm of really living in our minds rather than feeling and being. Feeling and being and intuition are really relegated to the feminine. That's more of a feminine frequency, and the doing and action are more the masculine. Of course, we need that. We need both of our energies to be in balance, whether we're masculine or present as male or female.
Hmm.
Um, but for me, I feel like I had disowned some of my feminine energy
Mm.
because I'd been in survival mode for so long. What is that? I'm trying to just get through the day. I'm trying to do what I need to do, check the boxes. I'm not resting and receiving. I'm not really aligned with that gentleness. within that is the wellspring of the feminine. It's still a
Mm-hmm.
work in progress. And also because I'd had a lot of abuse at the hands of men. I
Mm.
think there created some inversions in feeling unsafe to be female. There's a lot of perversion, especially early on when I was, doing sexual favors as a child for
Mm.
adult men in the deep state. It's like, wow, that created a lot of stuff that I would have to get over and
Mm-hmm.
move through and embrace and put behind me in some ways. So it's a beautiful work in progress, especially as I move, deeper into my 50s now. Like, wow, it's always shifting. Like, how can I more deeply embody the feminine? And of course, a lot of the energies I work with are extremely feminine. The Hathor's Mother Mary. There's so many. I work with the grandmothers in my healing sessions. They are indigenous women from many different times and places on our planet, but that also are galactic in nature, star-seated. I often see them as tall galactic beings also. So there's a host of lots of different groups and so many different beings, yeah, that hold that essence of the feminine and the higher field of unity we could call 5D creation
Mm-hmm.
energies, but that also empower the masculine. So as the masculine becomes more empowered, the feminine also does. We, like a figure eight, we connect each other. They're both needed to be in balance. As you
Mm-hmm.
and your listeners know, of course, we need that balance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see a lot of interesting connections coming together with people feeling a power,
Hmm.
and then people having their voice
Yes.
given back to them
Yeah.
as they're healing, and then them being able to use to take down those very structures that
Yeah.
try to take their voice away.
Oh, that's so beautifully said. Brother says yes.
You know,
Yeah. Yes. 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 Hmm.
and
That when
so
that describes my pathway very adeptly, because I was a very
mhm.
muted child. Yeah, still reclaiming my voice. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So what is it then that you do? I guess how can you encourage ladies and even men too? Because I believe the feminine gives us a doorway into feeling
Yeah.
into the higher density dimensions where we're less constrained by like what we think we have to be
Yeah.
or how much money we don't have
Yeah.
or what party we don't serve or this person that we don't connect with, whatever. It's like all those dualistic ideas are competing for our energy.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe you describe what it means to tap into the divine feminine, or how do you do it? I don't know. Maybe you can go there. I think it's important from a woman's perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you can take a second too.
I'm
Bring
just
us to a
having a moment. I'm
meditation.
having a feminine moment to just pause in the breath, in the space, in the lower
Okay,
belly, the
I'm gonna do it
heart.
with you then.
Yeah, let's all sit for a second. And it's so unique. Just have a breath through the lower belly, through the chest, maybe feel what's alive for you in the moment. And just saying that to anybody listening out there at any point in time. It's so individual. We find our unique voices. What does it mean to be masculine or feminine or something of integration of those two?
Mm.
How do we find our way? It's unique to everyone.
I'm sensing weirdly. I'm gonna throw you on the spot. Maybe do a little divine feminine activation.
Yeah, yeah.
Something.
All right, well, let's go for it then. Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, let's do something experiential, and that will take us right into it, in fact. And
All
that's
right.
how, it's sort of beyond words, I would say. So let's give a few minutes here to your listeners and to ourselves. So have a breath wherever you are, in the middle of your day, the end of your day, the beginning of the day, middle of the night, maybe. Just a gentle breath, gentle presence with yourself. Just being curious about what's alive for you in the moment. Maybe allowing your body to soften a little bit. And to notice any expressions that may have been feeling a little stifled for you. Just notice how the energies are moving through you as you listen here. Group energy commands a high frequency when we practice just listening together. Maybe again have a breath through the lower belly. This is a portal, the hara in Zen traditions and the lower dantian in Taoist traditions and so on. It opens into the cosmos, the birthing place of all things, the birthing place of all things, the birthing place of all things, and into which all things dissolve without beginning or end. This is one of the most primal aspects of what we call feminine energy. It's both the chaos and calm that births so many things. And just listen, listen, listen. As if your ear were to the ground, finding something you know you remember, but perhaps have temporarily forgotten. And just let the energies of the mind soften a little bit. Your thoughts will come and go, but just let yourself be here with us, free to be who you are in this moment without any kind of judgment or expectation. Let yourself be here, received and accepted as you are, and loved as you are, loved as you are, loved as you are. Granita me kuyamache darinede de mokarmakakena nishima kormakanya the mishimakakeni. Just loved as you are. What would that be like for you to be loved as you are? Not having to change yourself or be someone different. Maybe a little. Notice for yourself what that brings up. I was going to say maybe a feeling of freedom, but discover that for yourself. Discover that for yourself. Just welcome that still space within that transcends our linear reality. It goes back to the source, back to creation. What is the creation asking of you now? What is it you want to create? And what lives deep in the wellspring of your heart? Now, have a look, listen, feel, sense. Beginning to trust what you see in the internal planes. There's wisdom inside of you. Just come through now. Just come through now. Yeah. Just notice the opening through the many different gateways in the body, through the energy field, expansion, expression of your voice. Yeah. Who is it you came here to be? And if there's anything tearful coming up for anyone listening, you know, this is a good space, safe space, protected space for you to feel. Just feel. Maybe it's joy that in the hurry, scurry of life hasn't expressed fully. And discover for yourself what it is. And that feminine energy may be coming toward you. It's a part of you. Is there a messenger bringing that energy home to you? And let that wake up something in your relationship to yourself, a softening of the heart, expansion of consciousness, remembering who you are, what you know, and how powerful you truly are. Creator being, many faces over many lifetimes. Everything is written inside of you from the beginning of time, and your cellular memory and your DNA code. Let yourself go into that. You might even find a place that is beyond the masculine and feminine. Just notice that. You might notice the two conjoined. As you do your work, I do mine, and we come together. beautiful and sublime. Notice the powerful collective bringing us home to ourselves. And may in love we abide. May in love we abide. Yeah, just let that come through. Let that come through. And if there's a child part around that wants to come through and be in the circle of our light with us, let that child come through. Maybe a part of you, maybe a child of your own, a galactic child wanting to come in. There's many of them around these days. That'd be a joyful conclusion to our exploration in this moment. Now. Yeah, so we could go on and on and on and on. This is a little snippet or glimpse into what I do. Yeah.
Oh.
It's really, I feel a lot in my heart. There's a lot moving for people. Yes. Myself too. It's effulgent there. So
you speak a light language.
I do. Yeah, I forgot to talk about that as we were cerebrally, going through things I didn't say. And I became a light language channel 10 years ago. I didn't know what was happening to me. What is this thing that keeps going on? I'd be meditating deep at night, late at night, and the light language started coming through. And I thought, am I speaking tongues? What is this?
I have something similar.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
And when you say it, you can feel it. I felt what you were saying. I didn't know what the heck you were saying, but then my body started to pick up on what you were saying.
Yeah.
And even towards the end, I heard something to the effect of, like, it's okay. Like, come on, this is good, And I could feel that, the way you were encouraging towards the end and opening up and then saying, okay, like, rest here with this, sit with this, and everything. That's amazing, because a lot of people I know, it's confusing to but even speaking of languages, there's old languages that have no meaning and no writing, but they're understood energetically.
Yes. Right on that. Yes. Yeah.
A language that we can say, oh, this is the ancient language.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I love that light language seems to be coming in for more people to do exactly that thing, which is to move us beyond the conceptual mind into something beyond linear language, right? So it's like, oh yeah, what is this thing? A lot of times when people say, well, can you translate that literally in English? I can give you the gestalt of it. Yes, there's always a meaning attached to it that I can find, at least for myself. But you can, what's important is, and you know this, the feeling. What is that evocative of inside of you? How is that resonating for you? It bypasses the conceptual mind and speaks to the heart, the higher self, and your energy field. Yeah.
And I guess that's a good place to sort of land on, is that conceptually, there's going to be things that we can't explain. There's going to be things that are non-quantifiable. There's no book for it.
Yeah.
And even if there is a book for it, the book was created by somebody or tampered by somebody with no divine masculine or divine feminine. So we have a lot to discern, and perhaps the codes and other energetic things are a way out, are the back door that could not be controlled by the matrix.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or whoever, deep state, whatever. So that's what I'm thankful for, and I have gratitude for, and I have gratitude for you for taking the time to continue down and eat up the breadcrumbs and do the hard work. And that's sort of why I do this, is because, not that I don't think all these experiences, galactic experiences, all that stuff are important. But I think there's a lot of communities that are missing out on the healing that we need to then have after we share experiences and we understand that traumatic things are happening to some of us. Because not everybody goes up and it's a happy, fun time and they come back with gifts and abilities. It's a smaller percentage that are actually benevolent, that are interacting with more of the population right now. We are interacting with benevolent because we're opening our heart to those beautiful frequencies. But most of the people here on Earth, they're stuck at these lower frequencies. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, anyways, I want to know about your book, conferences, website, and how can people get hold of it?
Well, I have my book about my experiences and so many things that's I don't have a published book yet.
Okay.
Many are publishing books now. I have not had time to pull mine together, although I am a bit of a wordsmith myself. I'm speaking coming up in just a few weeks, October 8th through 13th. I'll be at the Super Soldier Activation Conference in Orlando. I'll giving a talk there, and that goes deep dive into healing. After we give context to my darker experiences and SSP experiences, we're going to go deep diving into healing. I'll also be doing live readings there, which is an unusual and rare event to have an in-person reading with me. And my website, RebeccaRoseBarfoot.com. Maybe you can link that in your details for the video. I'm on Telegram, Rebecca Rose Sirius Blue, YouTube, Rebecca Rose Sirius Blue, Rumble, Rebecca Rose Sirius Blue. So those are the ways to find me publicly. I don't spend tons of time on social media. I'm a bit out on the fringe because I spend more time looking through the internal planes, admittedly. But yeah, and I live up in Alaska in this land. I just bought a house and moved out deeper into the land, about 100 miles south of the Arctic Circle. And it's boreal forest that really supports the energy of my work, my practice, and the sessions that I do with other people. So that I feel is really coming through too. Yeah.
That's strong.
Yeah.
Well, I have other questions, especially as it goes with energetically living in the 5D. So I want to, hopefully, we can do this again, right? So, anybody who's watched, I need you to get in touch with Rebecca's work. Check out her website. Her other interviews are amazing. But more importantly, check out some of the things that she's talking about as it goes with healing. Because that's where we're at right now, healing collectively.
We are healing collectively, yes. And I want to say to people who, I noticed this in my practice over several years, over the years, that sometimes people feel like it's selfish to work on themselves. But I want to assure everybody that when you work on yourself and you're healing things from deep in the shadowlands and you're becoming your most authentic self, that is healing the collective. That is the best service work we could actually be doing, hands down. Yeah.
Love it. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody who's been here listening. And for people who enjoyed that sudden and spontaneous little guided journey, listen to it again. It'll keep opening.
I'm going to listen to it.
Yeah, rewind the tape and go back to that.
I might make this a separate track.
Yeah, do that.
Just for myself.
Yeah.
I might not even give it to anybody. Just my own personal before sleep meditation.
You do it before sleep and see what happens, because there was a lot of heart opening, a lot of space and consciousness opening there. And something magical happens when we hold space in this way together and we come together and do these things as a group. So
that was cool.
Brother Sage, thank you so much for having me on.
All right, Rebecca. I'll catch you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.